got some tea. What is up, you guys? My name is Jessie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the top 10 most disappointing books that I've read for 2020. I'm going to go ahead and say this. If you hear any tippy tappies on the floor, it's my dogs and I'm filming in my living room. So this is in no particular order, but I do want to first off by say I am not here to bash your favorite book. I'm not here to bash an author. I'm just here to let you know what books did not work for me this year. So please don't take any offense if some of these books are on your list of favorites. The first book I want to talk about is You Are Not Alone by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Buchanan. I can't say her last name. Anyways, this one I was really excited about because I've read An Anonymous Girl and The Wife Between Us, and they were both like a little underwhelming. So I was really excited for this one. It was a book of the month pick. Everyone was really raving about it, so I was super excited. But unfortunately, I think this author duo is just one of those authors that are just not going to work for me, because I just find their stories to just be bland, kind of drawn out, and a little bit uneventful. Like, I just really did not care for any of the characters or even the plot. I don't know. I just didn't like the story, and unfortunately, it made the list. The next book I want to talk about is probably my least favorite of the year, and that is Dear Wife by Kimberly Bell. I read this one because I think my friend Jacqueline actually was doing a live show book discussion and revolving this book, and unfortunately I felt like this book was very similar to another particular iconic story. Like, I felt like it was too similar. I felt like it wasn't really original, and you can see the big plot twist probably like on chapter 5. It was very much there in black and white, very clearly. So unfortunately this one did not impress me at all, and honestly there were some chapters in this book that I felt like could have been not even printed, in my opinion. The next one that I want to talk about is The Breakdown by B.A. Paris, and yes, B.A. Paris wrote one of my favorite thrillers, which is Behind Closed Doors. But unfortunately, I think I went into this one with a little bit high expectations just because I loved Behind Closed Doors. But this one did let me know of a particular thing that happens in most thrillers that I really don't like. And it's like cheap excuses on how to explain what's really happening, as AKA the woman's crazy and that's just not okay. I'm not saying that that is exactly what happens, but that's what it makes you feel. I don't know. I thought the plot twist was very underwhelming, and I didn't like any of the characters, and very predictable. The next one I want to talk about is probably going to shock a lot of you, and that is because I'm talking about Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pembroke. This one I know everyone loves because it has that big crazy plot twist on the last page, and everyone's just like, oh my god. I get it. I was completely surprised too. However, the general action of the book, like what, I don't even know how to describe this without like giving it away, but the actual act of like what the characters are doing in this book are not my cup of tea. I really want to say it without spoiling it, but I'm just going to put a big spoiler right here. If you don't want to know what it is, just skip the next few seconds. But the whole like lucid dreaming thing, I don't like that. I think that's very unrealistic, so that's why I don't like that in my thrillers. Okay, so moving on. Another reason why I didn't like this one, I felt like the characters were super boring and kind of underdeveloped a little bit. I don't know. I just felt like they lacked something in each one of the characters, you know? The next one may not be a surprise because I feel like you're either on the love it scale or a hate it scale, but that is Bunny by Mona Awad. This one, where do I even start? This one is so flippin' weird. I guess I don't like unrealistic things in my books unless I'm expecting like a fantasy or something, but This one was just so weird that I had so many questions, but I didn't want to ask them. I'm like, is this really happening? Is it original? 100%. I just did not like this one. I felt like it was a little too bizarre for my liking. So moving on. The next one, I feel like everyone is going to put on their favorite list, but I read it. I did not enjoy it. I felt like I just didn't get it. Like, I was that outsider in the group that just didn't understand why this one was so popular, but it is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This one had everything that I love in a thriller, and that is a whodunit Clue vibe. Like, Clue is one of my favorite board games ever, and I don't know why I didn't like this one. I think it's because it took me so long to get into it. I didn't like, the characters sounded the same. I got the audiobook, which helped, but I don't know. The setting was perfect. It was very atmospheric and creepy, and the fact that it was being taken place at a wedding was just like perfect. But the execution, I think it's the characters, honestly. Like, I did not like any of the characters. I felt like there was not one single person I was rooting for. I don't know. I just didn't like this one. As you guys have known, in this year, I have read the Bromance Book Club, which I absolutely love. I feel like it's the most precious, cutesy book I've ever read. But I read Undercover Bromance, and I hated this one. I gave it 3 stars, but I felt like, I don't know, just getting away from the original characters, and not only that, having like a completely different trope, I guess you can kind of say, because with the first one, you have Gavin and Thea who are married, who are trying to rekindle their marriage, but then you have these other characters, and it's basically a enemies to lovers, which I typically like in romances. Like, I typically do like those, but for some reason these characters, I don't know. I think it's because it's the 2 characters I did not like in the first one, and they're supposed to like be together. I don't know. And then I have not heard good things on book 3, so I don't know if I'm going to continue. Not only that, I'm not a series person, but I guess going into Undercover Bromance thinking it's going to be as great as the Bromance Book Club, I don't know. Next, last year I read My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing, and I absolutely loved it. So when I found out there was going to be another book that she was writing, I was so excited because I loved My Lovely Wife. Unfortunately, he started it. I gave it 4 stars. However, again, the story really let me down. And I think it's because I literally waited like 8 months to get my hands on this book. And I tried so many different ways to get this book, whether it was like giveaways, NetGalley arcs, publishers. Like, I tried so hard to get this book and I did not get it. And I think what this book has taught me is another trope that I don't like in books, and that is sibling drama, sibling rivalry. And this has to do with like 3 siblings who are on a cross-country trip to collect their inheritance, and things go crazy. And I just don't like sibling drama to be the focal point, or like, I don't know. The ending was really good. However, it took a while for me to like start enjoying this one. So yeah. The next one I want to talk about, coming in number 9, is The White Stalker by Liv Constantine. I loved The Last Mrs. Parrish. Awesome, amazing book. Highly recommend. I haven't read their second one, but I picked up their third one. I read it, and it, for the most part, it was pretty good. But then I felt like the ending was very rushed and kind of came out of like left field, but shouldn't have. Like, I don't know, like the plot twist, I was like, oh really? Like, you had to go there? And it did, and I don't know. But I will say this, I did recently read a book that made my top favorites of 2020 so far, and it had a very similar theme to this one, so definitely look out for that video in the future. But yeah, this one definitely made me a little disappointed. And lastly, this is a 4-star book for me, but if you watch my reading vlog, you'll know that I very much contemplated between a 5-star and a 2-star read, and that is Goodnight Beautiful by Amy Malloy. I loved The Perfect Mother by this author, and I felt like it was done so well, but I was so excited to get my hands on this one, and the first half was amazing. It was so good. It had like 2 plot twists back to back in the middle, and I was just like, whoa, what am I reading? But then you get to the end, and it even mentions it. It's basically mimicking a very iconic book, in my opinion. Like, it mentions the book in this book, but then I don't even know, like, it had the potential to be my favorite book of the year, and it dropped on the scale super quick. Like, this was such a letdown. But oh my gosh, this book, the twists were so good, but then you get really disappointed at the end, and I feel like I'm not the only one that feels this way. Alright guys, those are all my picks for my least favorite / disappointing books of 2020. Let me know which book disappointed you the most. Are any of them on my list? I'd be happy to know. Again, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm just letting you know which books I did not jive with that well. Make sure you subscribe to this channel because I will be putting up a favorites of 2020 very shortly. And follow me over on Instagram. It's at readingwithjess_. I post a lot of book hauls, reviews, stacks, things like that. I would be happy to have you guys over there. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers on this channel, and I'm so excited. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.